Good morning, Bickies. How's it going? It's Tara. I'm a bit nervous today. This is an unusual one for me. Um, you're true to the biscuit box first. I want to introduce that first, Tara, just so people know they're in the right place. So you're tuned to the biscuit box. We go live every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. And this one is a bit different. This feels different for me because it is. Because I'm going to share my story. And what prompted me to do this? I went to a great workshop, and I'm just going to take down my screen. I'm not going to see who's in with me because that's only going to make me more nervous. God, this is weird. This feels weird, gang. It feels weird because I usually share my expertise or my knowledge or my hacks or my other people's stories. It's mad when you're sharing your private stuff. Not really that private, like, but you know what I mean? Your story, like the stuff that has got you to where you are today. Anyway, so what prompted me to bring this up today was I went of two different things. I went to a great workshop last week, and it was really, really great to get outside of the office and to be immersed with people. And I just forgot how that felt. And just to be around other business owners and people that are making stuff happen and really what impacted me hugely from it was called Restore. Shane Breslin and Sally Murphy. I don't know if any of you guys are watching me today, but anyway, they held a great space, and what really impacted me hugely from being at that workshop was when everyone shared their story. And I forgot how important that is to share your story, but I teach it every day. And I came home and I went, Jesus, have I ever shared my story properly? And I don't think I have. So thank you, Shane and Sally, for highlighting that, and for everyone at that workshop, actually, for sharing your story, and how so interesting it is to hear other people's journeys and their challenges, of how they've got to where they are now. And I think it's an important one for me because I know that you're going to feel very connected to certain parts of my journey. And I know that because the people that I have shared this journey with have went, oh my God, yeah, that happened to me as well. Or I felt like that too. And I think as we share our journeys and we are open and honest about the things, it helps people that are at challenging points in their lives that feel not alone, that, oh my God, she went through that too, and look what she's doing. I can do that. Of course you can. But you need to hear it from someone, don't you? And so that's what I really wanted to do today, was to just come on and share the story. I don't want to spend hours talking about it though, because it is pretty long. So I've kind of condensed it on that note. And this is something that I've learned, actually. I didn't prepare this too much because I started last night going, yeah, I better kind of prepare this and, have something to say in a kind of cohesive way, I guess. And then I thought, no, Tara, don't, because that doesn't suit me. And that's why I like doing live streaming, because I'm a devil for when I do video of self-critique and stopping and editing and not liking it. And I have shitloads of content, shitloads of videos that you will never see because they're not good enough. And that's why I love jumping on live, off the hook, whatever the thing that comes, I just roll with it, and it just suits my personality. And I think if you're struggling with that bit of creating video or creating content and you're never quite there at putting stuff out, try the live streaming. It's just, you have no choice. You're fucking on air. You have to do it. Just get it out there, like get it out there. So I have a few different pointers just in front of me here that I just want to make sure that I don't miss in sequence. Because if you've been following me for a while, you might have heard me say a few times that time, I have this thing with time and me, I kind of don't mix. Like, I just have no reference to timelines or years, or, you know, I even had to text my husband, what date did we get married? Like, I know the day and the month, but what year? Like, years mean nothing to me. They never have. Like, I never connect anything with the, like, is that weird? Probably. Anyway, so timelines and stuff are not my friend. So I have a list of just where they are in sequence rather than the dates. I'm not good with that. Okay. So where did it all begin? Just to say before I dive in, I missed the second point of why I'm doing this actually. So the first was the Restore workshop, and the second one was my workshop. So I'm doing a workshop right now with a group of business owners. Thanks, gang, for inspiring me. And part of the workshop is talking about our backstory and diving into that gold, and that, you know, the work that we did over the last few days have, you know, reiterated that feeling of, I better share my story too, because the gold is in there. Okay, so that was the second bit. Okay, so where did I start? Oh, this feels weird. Oh! It just feels so weird. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just does. Okay. So it all started, laying back in the seat, it all started when I left school and I wanted to be a painter, right? So that was my love. Getting messy, abstract work, paint. You know, I always drew as a child, but it was messing. Like, I was a messer. Like, I loved the mess and the big pieces and the paint, and I wanted to be a painter. I decided, right? So I left school and I went off to pursue that choice, right? And I remember doing my first year, and, you know, you do lots of different things. So you do, you know, I was doing woodwork and like ceramics and painting and drawing, and there was graphic design. So it was a bit of everything. And I remember my first few weeks settling into the whole thing. I remember walking around loving the smell of tarps and paint and that coldness of studio, you know, where you have to wear, you know, you're inside with a coat and a hat on. Why are studios cold? Maybe now that's 100 years ago, but it just, that was my memory of just loving that kind of feeling. So anyway, but more importantly, I loved the people that I was meeting. People I'd never met before. Obviously, you're in a different world. You've left high school or whatever. And I remember going, oh my God, these people are weird. They're like me. Because I was always the weird one in school. I was always the weird one, the spacer, the, you know, mad as a brush, like, you know, all the labels that you get when you're creative. And for the first time in my life, I was immersed in an environment of people just like me, and people that I thought were weirder than me, and I just loved it. I just thought, oh yes, this is it. Like, I'm home. These are the people that I want to be around all the time, because it feels natural and easy and exciting, because it was conversation about possibilities, about projects, about turning things upside down and looking at things inside out. And that's what I love to talk about. So I knew I was in the right place, but I don't come from a creative home. I come from an entrepreneurial home. My dad was a business owner, right? And a 9-to-5 person too. He just had many things going on. And so, you know, the conversation around our dinner table in the evenings wasn't about, you know, what's happening on Coronation Street or the lady next door and what she's up to. we never discussed that kind of thing. That was kind of irrelevant in our world. It was, well, what do you think of this fork? Like, could you not make that fork a bit better? Like, it doesn't really click. That was the conversations in our house, like, quite different, I guess. So my mind was built around that. So when I went to art college, I was looking for the sales and marketing department. Like, how am I going to sell this work? And I remember going to this is week 2, and I remember going into the head of the department and saying, how's it going? I'm all excited. I'm fucking 12 and happy out, and I had bindies on and all that stuff. I remember being so excited about this new thing. And I asked her, okay, I've got the schedule. This is all great. Like, fantastic. Where's the sales and marketing department? And she looked at me and she laughed at me. And it wasn't your gas crack. It was like that condescending laugh, as in, you silly, silly child. What do you mean? That's the most ridiculous question. And I stopped me in my tracks. What? Why is it a stupid question? Surely we're in a place of learning. Why would I not want to learn how to sell the thing at the end when I leave here? Like, is that silly? Questioning myself. And that made me really question why I was going to spend 4, possibly 5 years of my life in an environment that laughed at that question. And so I went home that evening and had a good chat to myself in the mirror, as I do very regularly still. And I decided, not for me. Nope. I actually don't love art that much. I don't think I'm even good enough to pursue art. It was the people that I was after, the creative people that were in that space that I was after, looking back on it now, not the actual work. So I quit art school and I had to support myself. Like, my parents were not the type of people that went, sure, relax there, like, and have a chill. Well, if you're not in college, you're working, girl, like, get out and start moving and shaking, like, so off I went, worked in hospitality, which I did all through secondary school as well, holidays and weekends and stuff, because I loved that interaction with people and having the crack, like, and so off I went. And I worked in the city, and the conversation back at home on a Sunday was, as I mentioned before, how to do things better. And so I was immersed in other people's businesses, and I always came back with ideas and improvements that I think my boss and the team should do, and why aren't they doing this, and they should do this and this and this. And my dad called my bluff and said, well, if you have so many good ideas, why don't you do it yourself, Tara? Okay. And so I did. So on a shoestring, I don't know how the hell I managed to do it, but I did. At 19, I opened my own business, a 60-seater restaurant, really successful. The important bit for me was to hire the people that I wanted to connect to, that I believed added huge, interesting layers to spaces, and that other people that aren't creative needed to experience. And so I hired a lot of people that I went to college with, that I met through, or just from being on the piss in Cork, like, and we had an amazing time in that business. That was my first business, and it was really, really successful from a monetary perspective, from a branding perspective. And I was really, really young, and I had a ball. Don't get me wrong, I learned a lot about business because I did everything. Like you do, like we all do now, in no matter what business you're in. But this was really an intense experience, because there was a team of 20 people. I was fucking 12. Well, I felt 12 mentally, but I was 23 at the height of it, like, and it was pretty hardcore. So from looking in, I should have been really, really happy, right? I should have, I had loads of money, I had a big team. I was respected in the city for creating something really progressive and interesting. People loved it. And that's what fed me was that knowledge of people love coming in here. It's not just about the food or the coffee, it was the experience. And it was linking the staff who were, the more feckin' tattoos you had or piercings, bring it on, come in, let's mix the two. Instead of, back then, it was 1996 when that was open, the first year. I had always worked in places where you had to take out your nose ring or your tongue ring or cover up your tattoos. And I wanted to rebel against that and create something different. And so we did. And it was really, really successful. So that was brilliant. And I learned loads, but I wasn't happy. And the three words that always came into my brain throughout my life, and you'll see a repetition of this as we go through this narrative, is this it? And after around 18 months of building Kafka's and creating that amazing experience and that team and, all that building work, you know what it's like, you set up the canvas or you have the wheel or you have your designs and you're putting them together and you're thinking anew. That's really, really exciting. And it's really addictive as a creative because you're creating something from nothing and you can see the results and it's tangible and you're getting that real buzz from it. But then when it's created, you're just keeping it there and you're just kind of, well, that's what it felt like to me. You're just kind of doing the same thing over and over to keep it up there. And all that fun stuff is kind of finished. So after around 18 months, I started to get bored because I had managers plugged in and it was a successful business and I felt like I couldn't go anywhere else. And then is this it kept playing into my brain. Will I be happy doing this forever? And I knew absolutely no way. I came to a point where I was miserable. I had, I was making money, but it was not about money. Like, it's a fulfillment, and you can only, I just knew it wasn't where I was meant to be. So I decided, with lots of people going, are you off your game? Why are you worked so hard to get it to there? But I just knew this wasn't what I was meant to be doing. So I sold the business and went off and traveled and did that whole travel thing. And when I was away, I was, I did a lot of acting stuff and, kind of found myself, as they say. And I came back with lots of ideas. And I'm an ideas person. I've notebooks like you guys would have lots of ideas, sometimes ideas that will wake you up in the middle of the night. I came back with loads and loads of notebooks and ideas of what I could do next, So I wanted to come back and create something new, to bring something new to Cork. Like, that's where I lived, something new to Cork that hadn't been done before. And when you're away traveling and there's lots of possibilities, and and I thought maybe I could go into acting or do some comedy stuff. Oh God, I'm glad I didn't do that. But anyway, so I came back and my default is to go back into hospitality, the thing I know I'm good at. And we tend to do that, don't we? Because we know we're good at something, because we've already proven to ourselves and to others that we're able to get results around something, that's your default. It's nearly your safety net for that's what you should do, because you can get results from it, right? So as a default, I opened my second business, the Berries in Cork, and created something really special again. And it's so funny just even talking it through with you here now, it's just so, you'll probably smile at this. Again, it was creating a space for people to come together, like-minded people that enjoy good music. We were trying to make healthy cool, so we like porridge and juices and smoothies, but it was really funky, and the music was always going and the chat, and everyone became a regular. It was kind of like Cheers, but that real hub for people to feel part of something other than, oh yeah, can I have a coffee please? It was just that experience, and that's what we created there, and it was really great. And I had that business for 5 years, and in the middle of that business, I had a baby, my first baby. I met my husband first. Like, well, he wasn't my husband then, but I met Matt first, then had the baby, and then the economic crash hit. But I'm a stubborn cow, like moo. I'm a stubborn cow, and I wasn't accepting defeat, and that's when I learned a huge amount about business, when I had to survive that, and we did. There was businesses left, right, and center closing around us, but we survived. We were really small. We were really, but shoestring gang as well, like, shoestring. But we survived. Why? Because we had built something special for people, and they were so connected to it. Like, I don't know why I'm getting sorry. Sorry, I don't know why I'm crying. Sorry, gang. Don't know why I'm crying. I'm so sorry. Anyway, stop crying, Tara. Why are you crying? Like, oh. Anyway, it was connecting people. And I guess I'm crying because, why are you crying? Because that's it. That's it for me, is just connecting you guys together, because I see the impact, right? I can see the impact it has on everybody's life, and just from even holding that space for people wanting fucking smoothies, you could see people that couldn't say 2 words to you on a Tuesday morning in January. By March or April, they were sitting up, they were chatting to you, they were connected, and it changed people's lives. And it's huge for me. It's so huge, gang. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I feel like such a twat. I knew this would happen. Maybe that's why I was nervous coming on. Anyway, okay, get it together. I'm glad I can't see. I hope no one's watching this. Oh God. Anyway, okay, so that was it. That was it for me. And I realized, working in that small space, seeing the impact that facilitating that space had, I could have been selling feckin' carpet. Like, it didn't really matter to me what I was selling. Yes, I believed in what I was selling, but it wasn't it. It was the impact that facilitating space and holding space for people that needed it. That was the thing that made me really addicted to even having a hospitality kind of project. It was that impact and seeing how you could make people happier in a simple way, Anyway, so I'm over my crying bit. Okay, so the berries, I decided to sell it. It was at the end of the economic crash, well, probably in the middle of it, and I sold it in 2 weeks. I remember the estate agent going, "Holy crap, how did you do that? No one's selling anything." But we did, because when you stepped into something, and this is why I work with you guys around this quite deeply, is you're creating experiences for people that they're connected to something more than just your product or service. It's the experience they have with you. That's what people remember, and that's what people want and need nearly as humans, don't we? It's not just the flat transaction of there you go. So I sold the business, and at that time, just around 2 months afterwards, my husband Matt got an offer of a job in Dublin. And so we had a small baby. Well, she was nearly 2 at that point, and we moved to Dublin. I had no ties except family, obviously, and my house in Cork, but we rented that out and all that, see, all the things that you need to do. So I decided we'd move to Dublin, and that's when it all went pear-shaped. Completely pear-shaped for me from a personal perspective, because you land in a new city, you don't know anybody, from a place where you're respected, people are calling you up, going, can you help me with this, Tara? I'm stuck with this part of my business, Tara. Can you come and take a look? Calling into you to talk to you, to get your advice on stuff. And that was my world. And I'd done that for so many years. And it felt great because you're providing a service, you're meeting people all the time, you're helping people with their thing. It feels good, right? So then you leave that and up to a new big city, hadn't a clue what was happening. Off we went, but it was exciting, and I love adventure stuff anyway. So I just need to check my old mascara there again. So anyway, we arrived in Dublin, and it all went pear-shaped for me personally, as I just said, because I left all that, and now I was invisible. And that kind of excited me in one way as well, because when you're from a place and you've done a lot of businesses and you've employed a lot of people, and you're known in a space, you carry a lot of things with you, don't you? Whereas this was like a fresh start. It was exciting. It was new. And that's the way I was looking at it, and it was all great. And we lived in Portobello, which was a really cool area in Dublin, and it was really diverse, and there was lots happening, and it was a really exciting time. But personally, it felt like I was a child again, and I was starting from complete scratch. I probably knew 2 or 3 people in Dublin, which I was hugely grateful for. But you really, I felt like I had to begin again and nearly reinvent myself as me, if that's possible. So we landed in Dublin, and for the first year, it was sorting house out, baby out, that didn't sleep. My husband worked a lot and worked away a lot, so I was on my own for a lot of the time. And I quickly realized, now I had a little bit of money from the sale of the business, which was good. So I wasn't under savage pressure to get a job. But I quickly realized that if I had to sing Baba Black Sheep one more fucking time, I was actually going to be drinking beer for breakfast. Like, seriously, I can't do this day in, day out. I loved her, of course. I loved her completely. But full-time mothering didn't suit me. My brain was too active and needs constant idea generation life. Like I need to be always at new things, and I just knew this wasn't where I was supposed to be. So I decided to start talking to people, and a day came where my friend, one of my 3 friends that I had in Dublin, Finn, who actually managed Kafka's, and we kept in contact and are good friends and still are. And Finn really was my savior, because she introduced me to Fionn, her husband. Yeah, Fionn. Her husband, Fionn, who is a really talented photographer. And Fionn was struggling with his social media, his sales and marketing processes, and he needed some help. So Finn, knowing me and knowing what I am capable of, said, you have to meet Fionn. Will you go and feckin' talk to Fionn, please? He's doing my head in. So off we went, and I had a meeting with him. I said, yeah, I can help you with this stuff. And so I did. And we worked together on a one-to-one capacity, and something happened. A spark. This is it. Why? Because I was sitting with a creative person, immersed in their work, because of course he was sharing his work with me, immersed in his brain of his ideas, possibilities, turning things upside down and seeing what you can do. This made me squeal with excitement. I loved every minute of it. Plus, I was helping him. I was taking away his pain point of all that business crap that he didn't want to really deal with. And we got really great results. And this was it. This is what I wanted to do, right? So I figured it out. I knew what I wanted to do. And even it makes me so excited now, even thinking back to that moment of working with Fionn. But it's all well and good knowing what you want to do, right? But it's how do you make a business from that? How do you actually build something around that realization that this is what you want to do? Like, you want to help this type of people doing this because you're able to do this, this, and this. How are you going to do that? So that was my challenge. In the meantime, my home life was really, really busy, and we had to move again. And Darcy Bell was starting her school, the French school, which they start them at 3, quite young. So we had to move out to the suburbs, which I had a huge challenge with. I was super scared of moving out to the suburbs because I didn't want to turn into one of those women that in my head I thought were just like, Stepford wives, with no purpose. And, I had all these weird ideas in my head of what would happen to me if I went out and lived in an estate. Like, really, this is a whole fear of turning into somebody. Oh, anyway, so I had a real challenge with that. But anyway, we had to move out, and that was okay. And look, when I make a decision, okay, let's just do it and make the best out of it. So off we went out to the suburbs. She started school, and we needed more money coming into the house. So the money thing came in. Now, I was continuing to work with Fionn. So that was a retainer that was happening. So I was working with him for a good while. And so I had to get a part-time job. So I got a part-time job in a creative agency. And I started working with them 3 days a week while Darcy was going to school. So that was all good. That was keeping some revenue coming in, and I was working with Fionn as well. And I started networking, and I called my first business when I was working with a few creators, a few different businesses, one-on-one coaching, Word Out. So my job was to get the word out for your business, right? So I was executing rather than mentoring like I do now. I was actually doing posts, writing blog posts. I was doing so much for people, press releases, like lots of different work. And so as I knew, I was excited by that. And just from my personality, and I'm sure you guys are like this as well, you want to over deliver for your clients. So my day looked like this. I worked part-time in an office for 3 days. At that time, I had built up to 5 ongoing clients that I was managing all their social media and their blog posts. And I found those clients via going to art openings, getting my word out. Oh, vomit. Sorry if anyone calls their business that. I'm so sorry. But it wasn't for me. Just from networking, and Fionn referring me to people, and then them referring me to people. And so I got a call one day from a lad in Galway who had a social media services company, and I worked part-time for him as well. So that was another kind of thing that I did. So I had 2 part-time jobs, my client work, and a child, and a husband who really I didn't talk to for like 2 years. Sorry, I'm too busy with all this stuff. So there was lots of things up in the air. But the dangerous thing was, and this was the turning point of me changing everything from Word Out to Biscuit to what you know now. And this was the turning point. It was my part-time receptionist job that I had in a creative agency. And I was amongst creative people, and I loved that. And I worked there for quite a while. It was 1.5 years. And I remember the director asking me to come in for a one-to-one. She wanted to talk to me. And I got really, really, really excited. Yay, they see my potential. Maybe they've read my LinkedIn profile and they can see that I've ran businesses, and actually I'm able to bring something to the company. Maybe they're just going to offer me a marketing position. Oh my God, I was so excited going, oh, yay, yay, yay. Someone else thinks I can do stuff. Yay, 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 right? So I was really, really happy. that someone else thought I was something else other than the receptionist. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was the turning point for me, that one-to-one. And this is what happened on that day. I remember distinctly. I was coming into work down to Merrion Square. I was taking the bus in from the Burbs, walking down that big long road. I don't even know the name of the road, as you just in front of Holles Street Hospital. I was walking down that lovely wide road, and I used to pass the same offices day in, day out, heading down to work 3 days a week, 3 mornings a week. And I was heading down, passing the same offices, and I got to know, not stop and chat like, because you're running down to try and make work, but you say how you to the same people every morning, and I remember one morning, at the end of that trek down before I turned in to work, I used to see the same lady every morning getting the milk to bring the milk into the office, right? She used to have to go down those big steps, in Merrion Square area around there. Those big old steps like that you come down. She was always coming down getting the milk, and I always used to whatever. And that particular morning, it was the morning of that one-to-one. For some particular reason, I stopped and said, "Hi, can I help you with the milk?" Because there was a few of them, and she was always going up and down, up and down. I wanted to help her. Like, I felt always I was always running, but I just feck it, like, do you want a bit of a hand? I'll help you there with the thing. And she was in her 50s. Lovely, lovely woman, blonde, my height, green eyes, the same as me. I'll never forget it, gang. It was mad. She looked at me and she said, "Thanks, oh geez, thanks a million, Dub." And I helped her just drop up at the door, like up the steps. And she said, "Oh, whatever you do, don't end up having to do this in your 50s. I wish I'd done something else." And she was the receptionist. I thought, oh shit. So I went down to the one-to-one, and I went up into that glass box office with all my ideas, hoping they'd offer me a job, of some kind of relevance to my experience. And I remember her sitting me down saying, "Everyone's really happy. You're so bright and bubbly, and everyone thinks you're great, Tara. But we need to kind of talk to you about something." And I was waiting for it, going, yeah, waiting to share all my ideas for the company. And she said, "You really have to watch your spelling when you're sending messages up to the people in the offices. Will you look at that for us?" And I thought, what? What? Oh my God, really? Okay, so that finished that. So I went back down to my desk and thought, oh my God, okay, so if I don't give up this job, because this is what's giving me the money, right? If I don't give up this job, and I don't keep going with what I'm trying to create with the word out, I'm working. Now, I wasn't charging a lot, so there wasn't a lot of money coming in there. But, I had a few clients, they were getting results, and I was happy, but it wasn't matching what I was getting from these guys. But if I stay in this environment where all they can see is a corpse at the door making spelling mistakes, how dangerous is that for my confidence and my want to do what I really want to do in my life, which is work with creative people and help them with their businesses, because I can, and I'm able to do that really, really well. But the scary thing was, when you're in a corporate environment and people with degrees and people that are really, or whatever, masters, or, I'm not from an academic background, that intimidate you and your intelligence when you're in that environment, and you are belittled and told to watch your spellings and not even listened to. You start to question your ability, and you start to, your confidence goes in yourself as to what you're actually able to achieve. And I remember ringing Matt after that shift and coming out and saying, "Okay, I'm not coming home. You can pick up Darcy. I'm going to the pub." And I went to the nearest old man's pub I could find. And I sat up at the bar and I had a pint of Guinness and I thought, and I just said, no. And that lady, which is the weirdest thing, that talked to me that morning, had that sentence or two with me that morning, she triggered it. I'm going to be like her. I'm going to be in my 50s, bringing up milk up and down steps, wishing I had done something else because I know this is not what I'm meant to be doing. And I put in my notice. I said, feck that. I'm not going to work in this environment. This is too dangerous. And I'll figure out the other bit. And I was lucky because I had that other job, the other part-time job, which was giving me a little bit of extra money while I started to try and build more clients, coaching more clients around their businesses. And that was the turning point. It was really scary. It was, but it was so relevant because if I didn't, I could feel myself questioning my ability. Was I, so this was what it triggered. Was I successful in Cork because people just knew me? Like, was I just lucky? Am I able to do things like that? They don't think I am. They're the ones in the corporate bigger over there people. They don't think I am. God, maybe I'm not. So where you're working and the environment that you're in and the people you're listening to is so very, very important on so many different levels. So I quit that job that day. The next day, I sent in my notice going, sorry, I can't work here anymore. Thanks a million. But no thanks. And I just really had to wing it after that. I had to bring in some money. I had that other second part-time job. I had word out clients that were, it was dribbly drabbly, but I knew this is what I wanted to do. So it was trying to develop that. And so I said to Matt, it's time that I start actually taking myself seriously and quitting my second part-time job, and I'm going to make this work. I have to make this work. I have some clients right now with word out. He said, well, you can't call it that because that's not making you excited. You're nearly too nervous even to say that out loud, so let's look at that. So we went to France. Matt is French. We went to France for a break with Darcy, and myself and Matthew drank a bottle or 5 of wine. And I said, what am I going to call my business? I know what I want to do. And he said, well, what do you want? What is it that you're doing? Well, I'm providing so much. Like I can help people with social media, with their messaging, with their marketing, with their sales, with their blah, blah, blah. And I listed all of the things that I have been doing with these word out clients, right? That's what I'm doing. And he said, oh, I know. And Matt's from corporate, so they use acronyms all the time, right? And he said, well, it's like you're creating like a toolbox, right, for businesses. Like you've all the different tools they need in your brain, and you've insight and knowledge and experience that you can help them with their business, right? I went, yeah, kind of, I guess. And then he said, oh, what about Biz, B-I-Z, kit, K-I-T. And I went, oh my God, Biscuit, perfect. And he said, no, not Biscuit, you goal, Bizkit. I went, oh my God, Biscuit. It's perfect, Biscuit. They'll get it. They'll know it. They'll so get it. I love it. That's it. And so Biscuit was born. Over 50 million bottles of wine with a misunderstanding from an acronym. So that's why Biscuit is Biscuit. And that's why I'm doing what I do now, because I know I can help you. I am helping creative businesses every day. Like, this is my dream, gang. This is the dream. And it comes right back to my first day in art school when I was laughed at. Why aren't you teaching me how to make money from my work? Why are you laughing at me? It's not a stupid question. There are no stupid questions, right? And I think it's changing that environment for creative people to be okay with making money, not to be laughed at from the art world for wanting to have a life and a revenue around what you do. that's my mission. And I went right back to that day. And I just didn't know that that had followed me all the way through, all the ups and downs, all the higgledy-piggledies. It was zoning into the 3 words. And I recommend that you try and zone in to this in your life. If you feel like you're constantly saying, is this it? Is this it? The minute that stops, you know you've hit the jackpot. You know you're on the right path. When you stop hearing that narrative in the back of your mind, is this it? I never, ever hear it anymore. It's this is it. It feels good, gang. It feels good. And, Biscuit was born. Now I had the challenge of trying to build the business that I have now. An amazing business, amazing. Like I'm living the dream that I had, living it, but it's step by step. And, part of the starting journey of Biscuit was getting out there and going to networking events. And I remember starting going to networking events in Dunleary and, in around, I can't remember the names of Nook Grove and places like that. And I always felt really different and under pressure. I was in my runners and a t-shirt, and there was no creative people. I was like, where the hell are all the creative people? Like, do they not go to networking events? Obviously, oh God. And I was with lots of, different business owners who were all lovely, like, and I really enjoyed their company. And it was great, but I wasn't being fed that creative energy that I need to function on a daily basis. I need it. I know that. And so I thought, well, Tara, typical me, if it's not there, well, make it then for yourself. So I opened a Facebook group. And at that time, I knew Biscuit was the name of my business. And I said, well, bite the biscuit. Of course. Sure. What else would you call it? Like, and so Bite the Biscuit was born February 18th, 2015. I opened the group with 10 people in there, and we're nearly at 6,000. Why? Because we need to connect. We need to be inspired by each other's work. We need to know that we're all on the same journey, that it's okay to be scared of change and scared of new things. And it's okay to have that narrative. Is this it? That's okay for a creative mind, because you're not on the right journey. Question it. Like, don't be afraid to question where you're at if you're not happy, because there's always a solution, I think. For me, there was, and I knew always, always, always on my journey, and I've ran businesses and I've built businesses and I've worked for other people. And, there's been a lot going on in my life. And I always knew, no, this isn't it. This isn't it. And when I sat down for that one-to-one with Fionn McCann, thanks Fionn, with him, and I immersed myself and I shared things with him that made him go, oh, okay, amazing. I knew this is it. And you just know, when you're in that work, it doesn't feel like work. I would work every day, nonstop, forever doing this. And I've never, ever once felt that in anything that I've done previously. So then I knew I was doing the right thing. So that's my story. I'm afraid to go into the comments. I hope I've pressed live, actually. Okay. I'm going in now to see, is anyone in with me, and to say hello. And I just feel so strange. Okay. Thank you so much, lads, for all the comments. Oh, God, you're great. Hey, Fran, how's it going? Hey, Amanda. Hey, Terry. How's it going? I can't see all the comments there now. Thank you so much, gang. I just can't believe I bawled my eyes out like that. Just felt weird. Hey, Jane. Hey, Dee Dee. Is that how you pronounce your name? Hey, Rena. Lads. Hey, Lynn. How's it going? Hillary, hello. How are you? Hi, Deirdre. Hey, Liga. How's it going? Hey, Kerry. Hey, Ian. Hey, Emma. Oh, my goodness, there's loads of people. Hey, Sally. How's it going? Hey, Jeannie Mac, there's loads in. Thank you so much, gang. I can't go in there now. I'll start crying again like an idiot. I'm so sorry. thank you for sharing the space with me and for me to share this with you guys. It means a lot. I'm not going to cry again. I'm not. But thank you, and thank you for sharing and supporting each other. I think creative people deserve it. We are the future, gang. Um, I think we've a huge role in the future of the world and society, more than you even know. And my mission and purpose is to make sure we have the confidence and the strength to enable that positioning in society when things start really kicking off, and they will. And I think it's our job as a collective to make sure that we're supporting each other and sharing the knowledge and making it okay to be vulnerable. And the big thing is that I've learned as well is to ask for help. And I struggled with that so many times in my career because I'm Superwoman, you see, and I can do everything, but you can't. Asking for help and surrounding yourself with like-minded people, just like I did with Bite the Biscuit. I'm surrounded with like-minded people. There's core people, Amanda Grace, Aideen, like from Firechild. I always get confused, Aideen, because of your Curtin and your other name, your married name. Fran, all the crew in the Karen Hickey, like Anna Barrymore, like all these new people in my life that are just hugely important to me personally, that keep me going, and all the factory members that enable me to do what I do. Thank you, and never stop believing you can create the life that you want, because if I can do it, you can do it. And just remember that you're able. Okay. I hope this has helped and shared a bit of me with you, and maybe explained in a wibbly wobbly way, of course, what Biscuit is all about. So gang, thanks a million for tuning in, and I'll go into the comments after the live stream because I know I'll start crying. Okay, gang. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday at 11 on the Biscuit Box. Keep creative. Bye.